To illustrate the magic power of thought, let me tell you one of the most astounding stories in the Annals of America. I could write a book about it, but let's be a brief. On a frosty October night, shortly after the close of Civil War, a homeless, destitute woman who was little more than a wanderer on the face of earth knocked at the door of Mother Webster, the wife of retired sea captain living in Amesbury, Massachusetts. Opening the door, Mother Webster saw the frail little creature, scarcely more than 100 pounds of flattened skin and bone. The stranger, Miss Grover, explained she was seeking a home where she could think and work out a great problem that absorbed her day and night. Why not stay here? Miss Webster replied. I am all alone in this big house. Miss Grover might have remained indefinitely with Mother Webster if the latter's son-in-law, Bill Ellis, had not come up from New York for a vacation. When he discovered Miss Grover's presence, he shouted, I will have no vagabond in this house. And she shoved the homeless woman out of the door. A driving rain was falling. She stood shivering in the rain for a few minutes and then started down to the road looking for a shelter. Here is an astounding part of the story. The vagabond whom Bill Ellis put out of the house was destined to have as much influence on the thinking of old as any other woman who ever walked this earth. She is now known to millions of devotee followers as a Mary Baker Eddy, the founder of Christiana Science. Yet, until this time, she had known little in life except sickness, sorrow, and tragedy. Her first husband had died shortly after their marriage. Her second husband had deserted her and eloped with a married woman. He later died in a poor house. She had only one child, a son, and she was forced, because of poverty, illness, and jealousy, to give him up when he was a 4 year old. She lost all track of him and never saw him again for the 31 years. Because of her own ill health, Miss Eddy had been interested for years in what she called the science of mind healing. But the dramatic turning point in her life occurred in Lynn, Massachusetts. Walking downtown one cold day, she slipped and fell on the icy pavement and was knocked unconscious. Her spine was so injured that she was convulsed with spasm. Even the doctor expected her to die. If by some miracle she lived, he declared that she would never walk again. Lying on what was supposed to be her deathbed, Mary Baker Eddy opened her Bible and was led, she declared, by divine guidance to read this ode from the Saint Matthew. And behold, they brought to him a man sick of palsy, lying on a bed, and Jesus said unto the sick of the palsy, Son, be of good cheer, thy sin be the, forgiven thee. Arise, take up the bed, and go unto thin house. And he arose, and departed to his house. Departed to his house. This word of Jesus, she declared, produced within her such a strength, such a faith, such a surge of healing power that she immediately go out of bed and walked. That experience, Miss Eddy declared, was the filling apple that led me to the discovery of how to be a myself, and how to make others so. I gained the scientific certainty that all the caution was mind and every aspect of mental phenomenon. Such was the way in which Mary Baker Eddy became the founder and high priestess of the new religion. Christian Science, the only great religion faith ever established by a woman, a religion that has encircled the globe. You are probably saying to yourself by now, this man Carnegie is proselytizing for Christian Science. No, you are wrong. I am not a Christian scientist, but the longer I live, the more deeply I am convinced of the tremendous power of thought. As a result of 35 years spent in teaching adults, I know man and woman can banish worry, fear, and various kind of illness and can transform their life by changing their thought. I know, no, no, I know, no, 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 no. I have seen such incredible transformation performed hundreds of times. I have seen them so often that no longer wondered at them. For example, one of these transformations happened to one of my students, Frank J. Wiley, of 1469, West Idaho Street, St. Paul, Minnesota. Minnesota. She had a nervous breakdown. What brought it on? Worry? Frank will tell me. I worried about everything. I worried because I was too thin, because I thought I was losing my hair, because I feared I would never make enough money to get married, because I felt I would never make a good father, because I feared I was losing the girl I wanted to marry, because I felt I was not living a good life. I worried about the impression I was making on other people. I worried because I thought I had stomach ulcer. I could no longer walk. I gave up my job. I built up tension inside me until I was like a boiler without the safety valve. The pressure got so unbearable that something had to give, and I it did. If you have never had a nervous breakdown, pray God that you never do, for no pain of the body can exceed the excruciating pain of the agonist mind. My breakdown was so severe that I could not talk even to my own family. I had no control over my thought. I was filling with fear. I would jump at the slightest noise. I avoided everybody. I would break out crying for no apparent reason at all. Every day was one of agony. I felt that I was deserted by everybody, even God. I was tempted to jump into the river and end it all. I decided instead to take a trip to Florida, hoping that change of scenes would help me. As I stepped on the train, my father handed me a letter and told me not to open it until I reached Florida. I landed in Florida during the height of tourist season since I could not get in a hotel. I rented sleeping room in a garage. I tried to get a job on a tram fighter out of Miami but had no luck. So I spent my time at the beach. I was more rich in Florida than I had been at home. So I opened the envelope to see what Dad had written. His note said, "Son, you are 1,500 miles from home, and you don't feel any different, do you?" I knew you wouldn't, because you took with you the one thing that is cause of all your trouble, that is yourself. There is nothing wrong with either your body or your mind. It is not a situation you have met. that have thrown you. It is what you think of this situation. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. When you realize that son come home, for you will be cured.